Today is all about making music, and we're going to make some really simple jingle bell bracelets. What you use is some paracord for this type of project, and this is the standard width of paracord that you might see for this type of bracelet or belt. We're going to use a skinnier kind, and this one is perfect for doubling it up because it adds a little bit of extra texture along with your bells. So what you'll need to get started is some of the parachute cord. It's a 95 size, thinner version, and then a clasp and some jingle bells. And you might decide to add some extra embellishments like beads that have a large hole, or you might want to use some jump rings to hook on some extra bells. And you also need a bracelet making tool. So the first thing that you do to get started is take your clasp and attach it to both sides of your bracelet tool. And this just holds it really nice and sturdy while you're knotting. And you can adjust the size on the side here to the size of bracelet that you want. And so I'm going to make the small size because this is a child-sized bracelet. I'm going to go with the 6-inch bracelet. And I've cut 2 pieces of cording that are both 4 yards long. I'm going to pass this through the clasp at one end and then make a lark's head knot. And this is to attach it. And then, before you string anything, you pass through the other side, but we need to add our beads, our bells. So just to one strand here, we're going to string a few bells onto those center cord. And it helps if you have an adult who can melt the end of this with a lighter, or you can add a little bit of craft glue and let it dry before you get started, so that it'll make it easier to pass through that cord. And this step has to be done after you have already connected it at the one end of your clasp. So we'll just make sure too that you use some bells that have a large enough hole. And you can add some of the bells to different strands if you want to. Just make sure that these are positioned in the middle once we get going. All right, so we're going to slide all of these up to the center of our bracelet. And then we're going to bring our other ends through the bracelet, and then we can start knotting. So I'll pass this, hold all of your ends together here, and bring them through the end of the clasp, like that, and pull it all through. Then you're ready to start with your knots. And this, you don't have to worry about your bells being super tight here because this is all going to kind of bunch up as we begin our knotting. Now we're going to do the basic square knot. So to start out, what you'll do is take 2 strands and place them across the top, and then 2 strands on the other side will go over those, under the center, and through. And before I make it too tight, I just want to make this a little bit tighter here in the center. And the first knots are always the trickiest because you're working on getting your tension right. There we go. So there's half of my knot. Now I'm going to take both strands again, across the center, under, and through, and that creates a basic square knot. So we'll do it one more time. Cross, over, under, and through, and you just keep knotting. Now you could combine a different colors here if you wanted to do your favorite colors or your school colors. If you're making this for a friend, you could look up their birthstone color and use that. That would be fun too. And you just keep knotting it until you get to the center here. So I'm going to make about 5 knots with this. And then we'll move our bells. Here we go. 4, one more, and then we have 5. All right, and then we'll slide a bell up. Now here, it's the same idea, but we're going to tie the knot so that the bell stands right up. Okay, so there's my knot, and then we'll tie another one, positioning our bell toward the top there again, and then add another, and then tie this one down. Then we're going to bring one more bell here to the center, and I'm just going to scoot it a little bit closer and bunch these things up in the middle here so that I can get it closer, and then I'll tie it. I'm going to do 3 more. I'll just quickly tie these together. Okay, so that we can have our right over left right over the center. So we leave a loop here, and then bring the cords down, across, under, and through. And then it's the same thing again on the opposite side, making a loop, cross these over, under, and through. We'll do 2 more. But before I attach this, or before I finish it, I want to show you if you wanted to add a bead here. You could add a little bit of extra embellishment by stringing beads onto the outer cords as well. So this is a little bit of a variation on our original project, but if you twist the cord as you place it through your bead, then it makes it easier to attach. We'll just twist this a little bit like that. And so if you want to add these, an easy way to do that is to knot it here, again, over, under, through, and then we'll tie our last knot over, under, through. Okay, so that is just about finished. We're gonna, if you wanted to add some extra bead bells here, what you could do is take your ring and attach a jump ring by placing it through the back. And then since I have an open space here, I'm going to go ahead and string it through the center. Since there's a little bit of room here, but not enough for my fingers, I'm going to use my pliers to just pass it around the center here, like that. So I can do a little bit of extra bell that goes right on the middle. And now I'm going to remove this from my jig and just tighten up my jump ring here. This will give you some extra jingly when you're making your musical instruments there. It's nice and closed. And then you can see on the back of my bracelet, I can just bring my ends around and tuck them inside this last knot. So if you have a little knot tying tool, you can lift this up and tuck the ends right through. And then again, you'll want to add a little bit of craft glue or ask an adult to help you with that.